All right, family. All right, all right. Ask why. Sorry about that, girl. I'm trying to. My time is like 8 hour difference from you guys, so please forgive me if I'm a little off on time right now. It's really early in the states. It's 7:30, but for me here in Africa, it's like 3:30. Okay, so if I go on in any earlier than my time here at 3:30, then it's going to be super early for you guys, and you still won't catch it. And then, or if I go like 8 o'clock or 6 o'clock, 5 o'clock your time in the states, Eastern time, then it'll be like if I go 5 o'clock, that's like, ooh, God, 3 in the morning for me. So trying to get some kind of balance here. But I do appreciate everybody that's tuning in at these odd hours. If you're up, good. If not, then you catch the replay, which is fine. But just make sure you guys like and share. Welcome, welcome, welcome. Like and share, subscribe. I think I have a subscribe button somewhere on there. Should be. But wanted to finish the conversation. And what I'm noticing is when I talk about other countries like Africa, Haiti, and other places, Black folk, good morning, 49. Black people just seem not to be interested in any place but America and white. Okay. If it's even in America, but it's about Black people, they're not interested. If it's about Africa or Haiti or Jamaica, Caribbeans or whatever, Black folks still ain't interested. But if you talk about white folk, they are all over it. That's the brainwashing and the mental illness of us, which is really super sad because these topics are really super important. I was thinking about Grandmaster today, NFAC man, and how we left him to dry. He stuck his neck out for Black people, and Black people could not even support him, which is super sad. And then we have Ozone, who is still in jail, and we've kind of forgotten about him. So this is saying a lot about Black people. If it's a Black issue, all you want to do is complain about the issue and not come up with a conclusion to the matter. And that bothers me because how do you this is not always about entertainment. Some stuff that we're doing now, I'm learning some really great information about privatizing yourself. And I want to do some shows on that, or maybe bring some people on that can talk with me about it to give you guys more understanding of how to free yourself from this whole system. It's claiming your name back. It's changing your name. It's doing. It's pretty much going to help you for where the United States is going. You need to be privatized. Seriously, you need to claim your name as a business. And there's some other stuff that we need to talk about. But I'm just concerned that it might not be something that you guys want to talk about. Um, but it's something that's needed, much needed, for where the states is going. As far as taking your home, they won't be able to take it if you have it in a trust. And if you have your finances in a trust, your house in a trust, your land in a trust, they can't touch it. So these are things that you might want to know, and we will talk about it a little bit and see how it goes. If it's something you guys want to learn about, we'll bring people on so that we can talk about these issues, which is super important for us. Okay, we don't want to have homes and then because they said we'll take them and you'll love it. Okay, you'll own nothing and you'll love it. No, I don't want to love anything that doesn't belong to me. I want my own, and I don't want you to be able to come in and take it. So learning how to protect my assets, how to protect my home, how to protect land, and some other things that your money, finances. So I think that'll be pretty interesting. We'll see. Um, it's that crab in the barrel mentality. Unfortunately, you're right, but I still try to. I'm learning. Man, I'm dealing with you. I'm telling you, dealing with Black folk. It's almost like I don't know if it's that crab in the barrel mentality, or just a brainwashing. When we see somebody coming to us trying to talk about freedom, we call them a coon. Well, I'm not gonna say we call them coons. We call them agents. We call them anything but what they really are. And if they see man, Grandmaster, who really was sticking his neck out, was really trying to help Black people. He was trying to get to the point where we would be calling them instead of the police, which was really I mean, he was the only Black man I know that had, well, besides, but I'm talking about today's, in 2022, he's the only Black man that I've seen that has a militia that had over 3 million people. I think he had a whole lot of folk that showed up in Georgia at the Stone Mountain. Then he had a lot. I mean, he's had some really good marches, you guys. And it was marching for Breonna Taylor in that Missouri area. And I'm telling you, and Missouri turned around and got him for some frivolous and gave him 7 years. And black people didn't even care. It was like, well, he's an agent anyway. But he was talking about you guys being free. So that's a story for another day. But I've been thinking about him a lot, and I know that if he could privatize himself, excuse me, you guys, privatize himself, they wouldn't have been able to touch him because it didn't hurt anybody. And we don't even understand that police officers don't have a right to stop black people or anybody if you privatize yourself, because we'll have a certain certificate that you have. And if they don't have that same certificate, they can't even talk to you. So these are things that we need to know how to save our lives. And this is part of what the Moors was talking about when they had their little flag and they had a piece of paper that showed that police officers couldn't even come in contact with them. You rip out that piece of paper, you show them that piece of paper, and they got to back up immediately. That's what black folk need to understand more about. And I want to talk more about those things. I am learning about them myself, and it's a lot. It's a lot. So I wanted to kind of talk to about it in stages. But I do have a couple people that, an idea. I try to put them in, and try to put them in the comment section. I don't know what's going on. My throat, I have an itchy. I've been out walking, so I don't know if allergies or what. Excuse me, you guys. So, kind of want to bring that to you guys' attention. Some things that I'm looking into for myself, and this is not free information, so I don't mind giving it for free. People are charging thousands of dollars to learn how to become how to talking about your straw man and how to become a business entity. And pulling yourself out of their system. Okay, so we will talk more about that. But I want to kind of get back on that Haiti thing, and it is an hour long, and I hope you guys can hang in there, and we'll be commentary, and along with it, giving some educational. This is only educational. YouTube been kind of on me a little bit, but who cares? Because they're not going to stop my truth. It's almost like they want to silence black people, but I see white folk on here doing and saying some of the craziest stuff, and they never get dinged, and their little video has a million likes, and YouTube don't bother them. But let black folks start talking about the racist system that's in place, and they want to shut you down, telling you hate speech. Well, no, it's not hate speech. It's hate action. It's actions that's going on against us, and we bring it to your attention, and you mad because we bring it to your attention. What kind of crap is that? That's almost like somebody when we were little, how somebody hit you, run and tell mama, and when you hit them back, then they go and run and tell, and then you don't want control, right? No, we're not doing that with YouTube. It is freedom of speech, and nobody can silence us because that is our First Amendment. I don't care whose platform. If you don't want us to have freedom of speech, then you don't need to have a platform. Plain and simple. You want to try to punish who you want to punish, grown folk. No, we grown. You can't punish grown folk. They've been dinging me on Facebook. They've been dinging me. I don't care. I said, look, we need our own platform. And I think Michi X has her a platform. I think we pay like $10 for it. But guess what? If we can have Netflix, we can have Michi X's platform. It's only $10. And I think we need our own platform, you guys. I really do believe that, because if black folk, because we are the ones that really keep up on YouTube, right? If black folks shut it down and we went somewhere else, YouTube wouldn't be YouTube. We give them the power, and we don't understand that we've given YouTube and Facebook power to try to silence our voices. No, we can take that power back, just like we can take the power from the police if we really want to do so. We can change this shit today. If we really wanted to do this, we can change all of this right here, right now. But we want to be entertained. We want our fancies to be tickled. We don't want the real information. But let me know if you guys want it, and we'll do it. Let me see what you say in 49. We have to get to the point where if one person gets broken, gets taken out, that the movement continues. And that's a movement and not just having leaders, okay? That's why we don't have activist leaders. We have a movement. And when you have a movement, it continues on no matter who or what happens to the person that they think is leading. But it's not one person leading. It's actually a movement. Everybody is doing it. So what are you going to take everybody out? No, you can't do that. So we need to try to get movements going instead of having one person like MLK was the leader, and once he died after Jesse Jackson killed him, then once they killed him because Jesse Jackson had his hands all in it. And this is what I'm telling you about cool Negroes that actually, I'm gonna tell you what, how we deal with cool Negroes, stuff like Jesse Jackson doing what he did. And it's not me telling, it's not me saying it, it's proof that he had his hand in it. Okay. And we have to start dealing with the coons, not just them, but their families. Seriously, that's the only way you take. That's the only way you have to handle people. You don't just let them be coons. And white folk, when you're a coon with them, honey, what happened? What when Kyle Rittenhouse shot them 3 people and 2 died? What happened? Did he go to jail? I'm just saying they handled their business, didn't they? I'm just saying. I'm not condoning violence, but I'm condoning justice. I'm condoning for us to be doing what we need to do and handle those coons. Shut them coons up like Candace. She talks too much and be lying for the white folk, girl. But I cannot wait till they show her. Oh, I can't wait till they show her, because once they get done with their toys, we know what they do with them. They break them, right? Okay, so she'll be broken. It's just a matter of time for her. Just like little Oprah when she was cooning out for them. She's just as quiet now. Oprah, boy, she just really buck broken, ain't she? Yeah, okay. But I want to get back to this Haiti thing. So the now, she's gonna really bring it into the day, into the now and the here and now, so that we will understand what's really going on there. We hear different things, but when it comes down to really understanding, we hear bits and pieces because it's not our story. It's not us who's telling the story, right? So this is what we have to do. We have to stop allowing other people to tell our story, and we tell our own story. Hold on, let me go back in here and get my little thing up so I can play it. I had it all set, and I guess I talked too much, so it went. Let's see. So we're gonna get into that, and hold on. Okay, we're gonna bring up a little bit more information. Is that where it's at? Okay. I'm using my phone, so I hope you guys will be able to hear it. I hope I'm not boring you guys. I really think this is something important. I think Black people need to care about other Black people, rather than the U.S., Africa, Caribbeans, Haitian, because we're all family. Plain and simple. You may not want to be, you may not claim them, but it could happen to you, and you want somebody to claim you, right? Okay, so let's treat them the way we want to be treated. Okay, so I am going to share my screen a little bit. I'm going to go over here. Let me share my screen, and y'all help me out here, because you know how I am at sharing my screen, right? No, this is not my gift. I need a virtual assistant. Okay, here we go. Oh, Lordy. Okay. I am going to be going back and forth trying to see your comments. So hopefully it's going to be on the screen. I'm going to go into where hold on. Now, this is who's speaking right now. And he's eventually going to go with the young lady that was there that we saw yesterday with Jamine. But we're going to listen to just a little bit of what he has to say right now. Okay. So y'all bear with me.
Real quick, we can't get into any deep details, but I just think it's important to mention some of this stuff, just because, again, these things don't get in the news, or when they do get in the news, they're framed poorly, which is often the larger problem, is that the framing of things, even when they are discussed.
Can you guys hear it?
I just want to give some basic facts, and we're going to get into the interview. But recently, there's been some issues with Haitians in Dominican Republic. Now, it's really not.
Let me know if you guys can hear it.
There's a longer history there that unfortunately we won't be able to get into. But since this crisis has really started.
Good morning, 51. I'm in Kenya right now.
Some people are.
Can you hear this okay, you guys? Let me know.
Not that America or any of these places automatically are better. It's just because they've been destabilized by places like America. They do seek shelter in other places. So the Dominican Republic, which is on the same island of Hispaniola with Haiti, is an obvious place.
Can you hear it? Let me know.
Here recently, and this is I want to shout out Latino Rebels who did a story on this. They said that Dominican Republic in recent days is showing security forces corralling black people outside their homes and loading them into cages on migrant patrol trucks to be carted off and presumably placed in detention centers or deported. And this is based on President Louis.
Have you guys heard? I'm sorry, I'm not going to keep interrupting, but have you guys heard that even the Dominican Republic has cautioned darker black people from coming to the Dominican? And I've had a girlfriend, and she's Filipino, and she's gone to Dominican Republic, right? And she's always trying to say, "Cassie, come with me." I'm like, the Dominican Republic don't like black people, and she goes, "What do you mean?" And I'm like, Dominican Republic does not like black people. I've seen that where, yes, I am in Kenya, but yeah, so we have even in Dominican Republic they have an issue with dark skinned black people. They're sharing a whole island with Haiti, and they don't even want the Haitians over there. My thing is, I don't know if it's black folk across the board that's just brainwashed, because Dominicans don't even want to claim being black, but they are black. I don't care how you look at it. You have dark skinned Dominicans that are black, and you got some that are, the $5 ones. You know how that is. But the issue with that, and they say even if me as black going to the Dominican, I always need to keep my passport, which I keep my passport with me anyway. So that's not an issue for me. I don't know why I keep losing my spot on here, but you guys can't hear, so yes, I will go back to Sharon. I had to, I may interrupt every now and again, y'all. So y'all bear with me, but I just want you guys to hear this brother that's talking.
Luis Abinader's anti-Haitian policy, and it's Decree 688/22 that was issued earlier this month. This month is in November, and it reads: the decree is for the prevention and persecution of invasions and irregular occupations of private and state property. So it claimed they're trying to protect their property and protect, the infrastructure of the country, but what it's done is just led to a massive targeting of Haitians. More than 4,500 people were arrested earlier this month
in the Dominican Republic.
The intent to deport them, according to officials, figures provided by the Dominican government. The director of migration is aiming to deport over 20,000 Haitians. And this decree, like any law, has a way of targeting people without explicitly saying it.
Of course.
So it specifically targets people without a deed to their house, which is particularly common in poor areas of the Dominican Republic where many Haitians live. So, like we always talk about, there has to be some kind of front or some kind of justification, and that's the justification is targeting people who don't have a deed to their house or something and saying it's about that. But Haitians are the people who are being targeted, right? Again, bringing this up not just to say, oh man, this is another terrible thing that's happening to Haitians. This is the consequence of destabilizing a country and just using it as a colony to do whatever you want. Electing leaders from the outside entities, electing leaders that the people never wanted, and then things go into disarray. Like that's what's gonna happen. So then it bleeds over into another place, and then this place has anti-immigrant laws that target Haitians, and it's even been noted that they're targeting black people who are Dominican, who are Dominican. But because they're dark skinned, they look like Haitians, they're getting targeted and put in detention camps too. And they have to show like, yo, I actually am a citizen here. Again, there's a longer history here. Even back in 2013, they got rid of the law that basically says if you're born in the Dominican Republic, you're a citizen. They got rid of that law, similar to how the U.S. currently still has a law, which I've heard talks of trying to get rid of this law where if you're born here, they'll call you an anchor baby, these kind of racist terms. They got rid of that law in 2013 in the Dominican Republic. So, again, bringing this up, but this is currently happening as you're listening. Haitians are being targeted as you're listening. So I just think it's important to highlight this, because they're the Dominican Republic is talking about building a wall between the two countries. Actually, it's already started building a wall. Excuse me. So very like Trumpian type policies, but again, Trump didn't originate these things. I'm using Trump as a reference for those who may not know about anything else. But just wanted to highlight this again because this is what happens when countries are turned into just playgrounds for the West to just do whatever they want.
Yep.
And then people just have to scatter elsewhere. And then we are like, oh my God, it's an immigration crisis, or it's a migrant problem, or, and then, we also talked about Haitians getting sent to Guantanamo Bay. Like Biden has sent about 24,000, already deported like 24,000 Haitians, and sending a lot of these people to Guantanamo Bay. So, this is the consequence of the things we're talking about. I just want people to understand this is real life here.
So you have to understand, I'm trying to bring it all into light as far as what's going on in Haiti. And those people that Biden actually took from Texas, he sent them to Guantanamo Bay. Okay, that's what they are still today. Okay, they didn't even send them back to Haiti. They sent them to a prison where terrorists are. These people were coming for asylum. They let the Mexicans in, but then because it is by law that when you have an issue in your country, that you get to have a trial and you get to discuss what your issue is before they eat, and they'll vote on it, yay or nay, if you can stay or go. But they didn't even give Haitians an opportunity to do that. They saw them niggas at the borders. Sorry, you guys, that's my word. Okay, they saw them black folk at the border. Okay, and they was like, heck to the no. You're not coming over to America with all of that. I mean, you had Texas that was acting a fool, and you had other countries that was like, no, you're not doing that. Send them back. And I mean, overnight, within like 2 or 3 days, every Haitian that was out there was in Guantanamo Bay, and that's where they are, and they still are there today. So this is what I'm trying to help us to understand, that we're in trouble globally. Okay, we're in trouble, and we're looking at our situation, but I'm telling you, Haiti, their situation is crazy because America wants that oil that's there. So you have to understand, if you see America mess with a country, they are messing with a country because they want that oil. It's not because of anything else, not because they bad, not because of gangs, not because they are over there protesting. It has nothing to do with gangs. They're protesting because of what, if you look, you're going to have to rewind the tape, and hopefully she'll get into more of it today while we're talking, doing this video right here. She'll tell you more about what's going on today, and that'll help you to understand what's really going on in Haiti. Okay, so let's get back to it.
We're not just joking. So I'll link this article in the show notes, but definitely follow that story, as well as all the other things that are happening directly in Haiti. So without further ado, we're going to get into the interview with Dr. Jemima Pierre. She's an anthropologist and a professor of African American Studies at UCLA, as well as a member of my organization, Black Alliance for Peace. And she is the co-coordinator of the Haiti Americas team, or Haiti Americas Committee. Black Alliance for Peace provides a great analysis, as I said in part one, where a lot of, even perfect for this episode, I can just read what my organization already provided. So we're going to link, like we did in part one. I know there's a few problems, but we're going to link the study guide that Black Alliance. We're going to link the study guide that Black Alliance for Peace came up with. That gives you a breakdown of all these articles. I'll make sure that link works, because I heard there were some problems prior. But it's a Black Agenda report. Make sure you click the first hyperlink in that article, and it should take you to everything else you need. Other than that, we're going to get into it. So thanks for listening, and we'll see y'all next month. They talk about the gangs like they're occupying the country the way that everyone else already has. They talk about the gangs like you just talked about what the UN did, and all those soldiers can't get much worse than that.
Right. I always say the biggest gangsters in Haiti are the U.S. government, the core group, Canada, France, and so those are the gangsters of Haiti. They've caused more harm than anything. And the gang situation is interesting because I want to say two things about it. First of all, how many people know that gangs in Jamaica have killed 1,500 people since January? Right? And this is like they have an epidemic of violence in Jamaica. Turks and Caicos, that other island, was shut down. And then they had military officials from England and other parts of the Caribbean to try and curb. The violence was so bad that you couldn't go. Right? So tell me, and then you have Mexico where you have cartels and shootouts.
Yeah, all the time.
All the time.
Yeah.
So why is it that it's Haiti that needs a foreign military intervention?
So gangs are not in any way unique to Haiti.
Well,
I mean, I'm not saying gangs don't have their own specific history in Haiti.
Right, but
the idea or the
idea, I feel like we need to intervene right now because there's gang violence. Then there hasn't been 1,500 murders in Haiti by gangs. Let's be real. Well, what the Mexican cartels do, what the Mexican cartels do. If we're gonna go on the basis like gang violence, then you need to, invade the U.S. You need, look at the police. They're the biggest gang here. The police have killed 800 something people. That's more than the people that have been killed in Haiti. You have mass shootings in the U.S. all the time. You have, this horrible violence in this country. But Haiti get this. We need an armed invasion, right? So the other part though is I don't like to use the word gangs because part of it is it's a very racist and very anti-Black moniker that's used to talk about, like Black violence is exceptional compared to other kinds of violence. But the reality is the so-called gangs are young people who end up with arms and ammunition. So you have to ask yourself, when you look at these guys, they're living in like poor areas. They're walking around in flip-flops, raggedy shorts and t-shirts. But then they have these $1,000, $5,000, $10,000 machine gun in their hand, right? Where is that? So you have to ask yourself, where are these guns coming from? It's like when we were talking about like, when people talk about like violence in the U.S., right? And you talk about, especially in the 80s and 90s where you had a lot of violence, where were the guns coming from? Who was bringing the guns into the Black community, right? In the U.S., you have to say something similar. The guns, in the past, the idea of using poor young people, arming young people to do harm is actually not new in Haiti. So business leaders would arm one group, one sector, to go basically shoot up and destroy their competitors. This happens all the time in Haiti. Yeah. So
that happens in other places too.
Exactly. So that's one of the reasons where you have the arms. And then you also have this idea that you have Michel Martelly and Moise would arm certain groups of people in the neighborhoods to actually terrorize other people who are protesting against the government. So all these guns are coming through these governments, through Michel Martelly's government, Jovenel Moise arming people. But lately, these guns have been going through these very specific ports in Haiti, right? So we're wondering, so the people who should be sanctioned, if the UN is going to sanction somebody, are the people who own the ports? Are these families who allow the guns to come through, right?
Right, and just on that point, the UN has not sanctioned those people, but they've sanctioned the gun. They've sanctioned in the U.S. as well as sanctioned the gangs, quote unquote.
Right. How are you going to sanction people who don't even have passports? They can't even leave their. So you see how silly it is, right? Like, and so this idea we're gonna but this barbecue guy, Cherizier, we're gonna sanction him. He's never left his neighborhood. Well, how is that gonna help, right? The reality is,
and even isn't he a former police officer?
He's a police. So yeah. So the other thing we don't talk about is the paramilitary troops that they funded to go and to create the image that Aristide needed to go were forcibly reintegrated into the Haitian police. So the Haitian police is not Haiti's friend. These are like former, like the latest, the police have killed like 3 or 4 journalists in the past 3 months, right? The police is actually brutal. Haitian police, and so whenever something's happening, the first thing they did, after the earthquake, the first thing the U.S. did was, fund the Haitian police, train the Haitian police, and build prisons, because that's what Black people deserve, right? Prisons and police, right? So you have that. So the Haitian police is not, so they're part of, they're the ones bringing in, they just arrested some guy at the DR border with tons of arms and ammunition. They arrested a priest coming in with tons of guns, an Episcopalian Haitian priest coming in with tons of guns and ammunition. So part of it is, I think there's a way that they're trying to forcefully destabilize Haiti more to create the need to say that they need to bring back the military.
Well, because even when I was quoting that Bloomberg article, one of their suggestions, and there was a few other pieces in the West that are against direct intervention, at least on paper, and they say that there needs to be give more money to the police, give more weapons to the police so they can fight back the gangs. But it sounds like the distinction that you're like this distinction doesn't really exist in real life the way that it's painted to us. Is that a fair assessment?
Right, exactly. It's not a. You're absolutely right. That is a fair assessment, and the fact that the police are terrible. The police are right wing. They're funded by the U.S. And the other thing that's happening now is Mexico, along with Chile, are training a bunch of Haitian paramilitaries to come back to Haiti, right? And so they just flew them to Ecuador, right, for this training. So that tells you the collusion. So there's that. So there is like what's distinct about this time is that there has been an influx of weapons into Haiti the past year alone, right? Remember, the U.S. was trying to send a military force to Haiti right after the assassination in July last year, July 2021. And even then, that's when we started saying no intervention in Haiti because they're like, Haiti's about to fall into chaos. When it didn't fall into chaos, they created the chaos. Because despite the fact that there was an assassinated president, that they installed a prime minister, Haitians were fine. You didn't see any craziness or chaos. The country did not descend into chaos, except them protesting, renewing the UN mandate. Remember, so the UN forces almost be gone, but there's still a few thousand foreign forces in Haiti. There's still a UN office in Haiti run by this woman named Helen Lalim, who makes all the decisions. In fact, she's the one this white woman that presented the case to the UN Security Council on the need for a foreign force in Haiti. So tell me what her position is, right? She's the head of the UN mission in Haiti. But the UN mission in Haiti supposedly stopped. So how is it that this woman represents the core group, gets to represent Haiti and ask for foreign intervention, military intervention? Crazy. So we have to think about that. We also have to think about the U.S. is trying to keep Ayo on Leon because through there, they can get whatever they want. And so I also have to say, like, Haiti's also known, if people can look this up, they have oil. And so one of the things that people are saying, like, there's these companies will be giving mining licenses because there's tons of gold and other minerals in Haiti. Mm-hmm. So the first mining license, for example, once gold was found, was given to Hillary Clinton's saying.
Hold on, you guys. I'm trying to say. Okay, now do we understand why the problem with Haiti? Anytime the U.S. goes after a country, it's all about the gold, the silver, the minerals, the oil. Haiti has what we need there. And I can go and take candy from a baby, and U.S. are bullies. And that's why they're going after Haiti. So now you got U.S. training Haiti's military, right? They're training Haiti's military. And we all know how the police are here with us. But it's so sad because their police officers are them, their own color, their own people. And why is it that we treat each other so bad? Why is it? Why are we okay with going with white supremacy coming to you, telling you, them black folk over there, you black yourself, and they coming to you and telling you, well, Haiti is blah, 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 blah. But you're right there living in Haiti and you see what the problem is and you see what the issue is. And you see why they're protesting. You see this with your own eyes and you still are okay with killing your own people. That is mental illness among black people. That's what they put us against each other, and then we turn around and take each other out, and then they go, "Yep, thank you, we appreciate you. Thank you, we appreciate you." But did you ask the UN? Those are your real gangsters. That's who we should see in jail. Because I'm telling you, if they had left Haiti alone, Haiti would have been fine. They would have did their little protest, get the UN out of there, burn the little building down, and Helen Ali is in, so she can go somewhere, going back to the US. UK or whatever, UN or wherever you came from. But my thing is, we have to start learning how to stick together. Money shouldn't matter. But when these countries are so poor and United States come in and say, hey, we'll give you $80,000 a year to go ahead and take your brother out, or to go ahead and we're giving you permission. We talked about the chapter 6 and chapter 7. Chapter 6 is you go in with no force. Chapter 7, which is what they're trying to do to Haiti, is with force. Okay. And if you kill, you kill. And that's what they're authorizing those officers to do, is to go in and to take out anybody that gets in their way of that oil. And that's really what it's all about. Period. Okay, let's go back and listen some more.
Giving mining licenses because there are tons of gold and other minerals in Haiti. You know, so the first mining license, for example, once gold was found, was given to Hillary Clinton's brother, who has no mining experience whatsoever, but that was given to him.
Ain't what you know is who you know.
You have Jovenel Moise giving one family how many thousands of acres in the middle of the country so that Coca-Cola can grow stevia, you know, in Haiti, and displacing people. And my mother, who was in Haiti last month, she's like, look, these days you don't know who owns your land. You can have your land and then some white person shows up with a piece of paper and say the land is now mine. Or people complaining about the fact that there are these huge, there are people drilling for oil on the coast of Haiti and nobody knows about it. Nobody knows why and who these people are, right? And people, the local communities who go out on boats try to figure it out, and they get pushed back by armed military guards blocking the oil, you know, the oil drilling machines.
Wasn't one of the points that, even though I had read even in mainstream news, that one of the major points where the oil comes in to fuel the rest of the country, they claim that the police had moved the gangs off of that.
Right.
Can you speak to that? Because I haven't read anything other than the mainstream. That's like the mainstream story to make it seem like things are getting better.
Right. Well, yeah, it's interesting because one of the key reasons why they say that they needed an armed intervention was that this port was blocked, and that brings in, you know, the majority of the oil into the country. So first of all, having an oil shortage, we have to figure out who owns that port. Right, Barbecue does not own that, you know, the so-called gang leader. He doesn't own the port. And then you have to say, well, Barbecue had actually announced 6 days prior that he was walking away from the port. That he said, you know, I don't want schools to be closed. He made an announcement like, we will not block the port anymore. 6 days before they said the police had fought.
So that wasn't even
right. So everybody's just like, well, this is confusing. What do you mean the police is fighting with the gangs? When the reality is that he'd already said that they were going to open up the port.
This is a voluntary choice.
Right. But just today, now that the port has been opened, so what's the logic for occupation? So tell me. So if you're saying the reason that we needed to send people was we needed a rapid action force to unblock the fuel terminal, what's the reason now?
Right.
Well, today you have Victoria Nuland and U.S. State Department. Victoria Nuland is flying to meet. Where is? I think I saw it somewhere. Victoria Nuland. You know Victoria Nuland. You know of the fuck the EU. Right. So she's in charge now, and she's Undersecretary will meet with Prime Minister, Prime Minister Andrew Holness and Prime Minister of Jamaica, the Canadian government, to talk about Haiti. They're trying to figure out what to do now. So even though the gas terminal, so they used to say they needed a rapid action force to remove the blockade from the fuels terminal. Now they're like, well, there's still long-term problems in Haiti. We still need an action force. Now that the blockade has been removed, they're still pushing. So up until today, they're saying they're pushing for it.
So
but the way they
Barbecue moving off of the port probably wasn't part of their plan, because it doesn't sound like that had anything to do with them. They, as in all these different groups you've named, the UN, the United States, the court, the people who are orchestrating this, the families. It sounds like Barbecue. I'm not trying to say Barbecue is some noble individual either. I'm just saying it sounds like they operated independently, and that kind of breaks down to your point, the actual reason for intervention, because they've stated that the country's went into crisis. You know, first it was the fuel subsidies, then it was the protests. Now people can't get basic needs because the fuel's been cut off.
And then so they have and then the media. You know, I have to say the media, and that's why I hope your listeners, they must know because they listen to your show. But don't trust. Look, if you see as a Haitian to see the lies that the U.S. government tells about Haiti, you should not believe anything about anything else, like what they're saying about Ukraine, and don't believe any of that because they lie so much, right? So you have in the news, so then you have this concerted effort. And and some, there's this one, the Miami Herald, there's one Haitian reporter from Miami Herald who's like, she's in the WikiLeaks, testing out her stories to Hillary Clinton before she publishes them. So we know this, right? This Haitian one, Jackie Charles, right? But every day there was something in the news. People can't go to hospitals. People are dying. The hospitals don't have water. This and that. And people are like, well, yes, some of them don't, but some of them are still running. So the frenzy around Haiti was fascinating to me because, and it's not to say that things are not difficult. It's not to say that there isn't violence, that people are not getting hurt and dying, but it is to say that there's a PR machine that seemed concerted to create the case. And so you're right. I don't think it was expected that barbecue would step in and hold it. And I think part of the reason they had to create this narrative is because the thing is, these days the U.S., they're cowards, right? Because they'll talk all this, but they...
You have to understand, I'm reading your comments, I'm going back and forth, 49, and you're right, we have to stop falling for the same tactics, the same tricks. I don't understand what it's going to take for us to understand that anytime the U.S. is after a country is for oil, minerals, gold. You have to understand that. I don't know why we can't understand that, and why do we still keep believing the media no matter what. We always believe in the media, and we're their talking points, and we'll continue to sprue out the white supremacy talking points of the media. And we know they're liars. They've been known to be liars. And like 49 say, they will stomp out the strong ones and weaken people to the point where they can be comfortable and have folks complacent, one on eggshells. They have used this same formula time and time again. You're right. And we still don't get it. And what you say, they don't hide what they do out in public or in the books. They condemn, but in our faces and behind closed doors, they do their dirty deeds and use laws and propaganda to make themselves seem right. But sometimes they'll do their dirt in your face like they're doing now, because they said, hey, we got to get to Haiti because barbecue. You keep hearing about this man named Barbecue. He was an ex-police officer, and now he's the so-called rebel that's keeping him from the tanks. And he's almost like the leader, which they don't need a leader. They need a movement, because we'll look up and barbecue will be dead, and then everything will be, done. Right. So this is why we need to talk about the movements and not a leader. I don't know why Black folks seem to need a leader. Let's create movements across globally. That means it'll hit Africa, it'll hit Haiti, it'll hit Koreans, it'll hit all these places, and it'll be a movement, and it won't die, because we won't let it die, because they won't be able to kill it. Just like they was talking about Jamaica and the Bahamas, and how they was having all these killings in the Bahamas, right, in that area. But what, they didn't send troops in over there because then Black folk were killing Black folk. Ain't no skin in the game in the Bahamas and Jamaica for America, right? So they didn't care. They let them folks kill each other, and they had I don't even think we heard about it in the news. If we did, it wasn't very long. Here we go again. Okay. But we gotta keep focused. We have to understand why they do what they do. And we have to start recognizing every time white folk open their mouth, they telling a lie. We have to understand that. We're gonna get back to it.
They won't send their soldiers in, right? It's the same as they're afraid to send their soldiers in. So what they've been trying to do is to get another country to provide military, to provide the arms. And so
a Black country,
Jamaica of all places,
come on now,
to provide soldiers. You want to send soldiers to Haiti? They're trying to get in the Bahamas,
Black soldiers.
And these two countries already mistreat Haitians, the Bahamas in particular. So Haitians know exactly what we would get, which is a lot of racism and brutality by these even Black
from their own people,
country, right? And so one of the other things that people need to know, even though they're trying to do this through the UN, they want a rapid non-UN force, which is worse than the peacekeeping force. Think about this. It's basically sending mercenaries into Haiti. At least the UN, you had the veneer of a legal framework for having soldiers there. When you say you want to send armed foreign rapid force to Haiti that's not under UN purview, what does that tell me? It tells me you're going to send a bunch of black mercenaries to kill Haitians.
Yeah,
I
exactly.
mean, but then, today, people are saying the blockade has been eased, and then you have Ned Price, who's saying, well, there continue to be long-term challenges that a force will be able to help address. That's actually not true. Because if you bring in a force when the reality is that Haitians don't want this puppet government, they want him out, they want the fuel subsidies returned, sending a military force is not going to help. And the other thing that is a warning is that 2022 is not 2010 or 2004, because you have like about a million arms, machine guns.
That America left in Haiti.
This is not going to be a cake and
it's going to be a bloodbath.
You're not going to just walk in there.
You're just not going to walk in there.
Nope.
You're not.
It's not going to happen.
And so I'm just like, you better, Jamaica better be careful what it hopes for. It's just like the way that, then what you realize is that these countries don't have any sovereignty, right? Remember when the U.S. government went into Jamaica and shot up people to arrest one supposed drug dealer? Was it Dudas? Do you remember this? This happened in 2000 and.
I don't remember the name, but I remember.
Yeah, and so the U.S. invades Grenada and so on and so forth.
Yeah.
And so part of that is like, why is it that they think that they need to send guns and a foreign military to Haiti? And we have to ask ourselves that, because if first you say the blockade is eased, and now they're coming up with different excuses, it tells you that they really want to go in and send a military force to pacify the Haitians.
Right.
Because the Haitians are not sitting back, they're not stepping back and allowing themselves to be run over.
Yep.
And I think they're trying to find a brutal pacification. But I think this is going to be much harder than they anticipate.
Yeah, even the way it's being told in the U.S. press, again, it is interesting that even the entire press has not leaped on board with the direct intervention. And they give their different reasons. Again, they still support buffering up the military or the buffering up the police forces in the country, but you can see how even in the Washington Post article that says intervene, they're even because there's been meddling in the past, this will be hard.
Right.
So even the establishment acknowledges that we've kind of fucked this up, but we still need to figure out a way to get in, even though the people probably aren't. There's not much of an appetite for it. And
there's not an appetite at all. And let me tell you, I'm telling you, it's not going to be fun. No, you're right. But I also think the reason that, because the press started out all gung-ho, if you remember this, they were, and I think it's the pushback. I don't think they expected such an amazing pushback by the people and by their supporters outside. And I think
even the Washington Post piece that's in early October, and then this Bloomberg piece is just a few days ago. So you're starting to see it twist in the past month. You're just starting to see, because Washington Post put out another piece that was a little bit more tepid on that point.
Right.
Politico had a piece that was a bit more tepid on it. So you are, to your point, you are seeing less, just blood hungry, just roll in, because it's this may not work. And the U.S. tends to take a lot of L's more than we talk about on the military front anyway.
Right. I'm like, you spent 20 years in Afghanistan
and lost,
and then you left, and the Taliban is stronger than it was when you got there.
Yep.
And I'm just like, so you spent 20 years, and you think you can help Haiti? You messed up in Iraq. You killed 1 million people. You killed how many hundreds of thousands of Afghanistan? And every time they go, they wreak havoc. And so I'm just like, Jamaica can't even take care of its own gang problem, but he wants to come to Haiti?
Wow.
So the other part I want to talk about, though, is the collusion of these so-called leftist governments and these black and brown nations in not standing up for Haiti, but in standing with empire, right? More than anything. And it's just like one of the most disappointing developments is Mexico. Is you have, Manuel Lopez Obrador, which is they call AMLO. He's been the key. Mexico is the key, what they call pen holder in the UN. So first of all, for people who don't know, the UN is not a democratic institution. You have all these countries who think they have a say. They can take all these votes, but their votes are non-binding. The only binding votes are the 5 Security Council seats, right? Which are the U.S., It's like 3 European countries and China and Russia.
Yeah.
Right? And then in the Security Council, you have, I think, 15 other seats. They have like rotating seats, like every 2 years you have some of the countries.
And come in, just a quick side note. You said Lula was promised a seat on somewhere.
Well, he thought he would get a seat on the UN Security Council. So that's why, but to do that, you have to show that you're a leader on the international stage. So then Haiti gets used, right? So our people becomes a training ground for Lula's ambitions. And I think that's what's happening with Mexico, seeing itself as the leader in the region, especially around the Summit of the Americas, where, they're like, we push for sovereignty. And so, Mexico, everybody's like, especially white leftists in particular here, where they're like, Mexico, Lula, and this and that. But I'm just like, hey, Lula's the reason that we're in the situation that we're in right now, because it led the beginning of the UN occupation, and its soldiers killed tons of Haitians. So Mexico now has become the leader, working with the U.S., and it began with Trump, which is Manuel Lopez Obrador, and basically taking U.S. Migration roles, right? So I live in Southern California, and where you can go down, you drive 2 hours and get to the border, U.S.-Mexico border. Thousands and thousands of migrants are stuck at this border. Unless you're white and Ukrainian, then you can just walk in, right? Yeah. But thousands of Central Americans, but also there are tons of Haitians, right? Right now, Haitians are becoming like the largest migrant group through Mexico. And they're coming from Brazil. And people need to know this, right? Why did they end up in Mexico? Because if Brazil had not been part of the occupation force, they would not know to go to, and then open up Brazil for cheap labor to come in for the World Cup and the Olympics in 2012 and is it 14? One of these, two of these, they brought Haitians, and then Haitians left after the downturn and basically traveled through these 7 countries through Central America to get to Mexico. The Mexican government colluded with Trump when Trump changed U.S. asylum policies, where in the past, if you had a claim to asylum, you can come to the U.S. border, and they would, you have an interview, and you can try your case. And for the longest time, they were taking Haitians and put them in prison. We used to work with them, those who were in prison for just asking for asylum. They'd be there for like 9 months, a year, and so on. But Trump stopped that, and with Obama actually beginning that, what they call expedited removal, where they didn't even give you a chance to come up to court. The Border Patrol officer can determine whether or not you're telling the truth and can deport you immediately. And so you know how racist that is when you have Black immigrants coming to the border. And then Trump in 2019, alongside Mexican president, created this Remain in Mexico policy, where they no longer allow people to come to the U.S. border to ask for asylum. They made them stay in Mexico, waiting for a number to be called to ask for asylum. And that process took like 2, 3, 4 years. I met somebody who's been in Mexico for 5 years waiting to be called. Wow. Right? To come up and make their case. So, and then at the same time, the U.S. government helped the Mexican government militarize its borders. So all of a sudden, you have Mexican National Guards, mistreating people at both the southern border in Chapatula and the northern border in Tijuana. So that's what's happening. So you have Mexico's role in that, but you also have Mexico, because it has a position in the UN Security Council, it's at a two-year rolling position, it's the one that writes Haiti policy with the U.S. So it's Mexico and the U.S. that wrote the resolution to maintain the UN presence in Haiti, because there's still a UN presence in Haiti, to renew the mandate, right? So there's still the UN there. But it's also Mexico that worked with the U.S. to come up with this rapid development foreign force. So Mexico, the leftist government, is very much part of that. It's also the same government that's taking Haitian paramilitaries, using Mexican planes to fly them to Ecuador for training, right? So this is where we are, right? Like you have these, and then so in addition to you have the leftist government, so you also have the new U.S. policy, which is, I think, and this is one of the things that I talk about a lot, because if Haiti wasn't so exceptionalized, people would see that everything the U.S. does in Haiti, it tries elsewhere, right? So this new thing where you have instead of U.S. sending forces, it uses the UN. So now it wants to use the forces of the region in order to do its bidding. And one of the things that WikiLeaks says, I think Janet Sanderson, who was the U.S. ambassador to Haiti, in the WikiLeaks paper, she says, well, the UN is a cheap thing for us, right? It makes the region, the people in the region feel like they have a stake in what's happening in Haiti. but also it's the cheapest, and we don't have to bring our own soldiers. It's the cheapest way for us to get what we need, right? And so now the U.S. has this new thing under Trump and now reaffirmed by Biden called the Global Fragilities Act. I don't know if you heard about that.
I was just about to ask about that. So yeah, go ahead.
All right. So the Global Fragilities Act was signed into law in 2019. And it was basically, it set up the new strategies of deploying U.S. soft power in the region. And it focuses on this idea that there are fragile states that could undermine U.S. security interests, right? And so they define fragile states as those where state weakness or failure would magnify threats to the U.S. homeland, right? And so what they want to do is basically, now before I go on, is just think about the Haitian state is a mess because the U.S. destroyed the Haitian state.
As you laid out.
Right. So there are no elected governments. We have an installed prime minister and so on. So the Global Fragilities Act is basically saying they're using it to provoke it's a rebranding of U.S. imperialism by using a wide range of actors and resources, including the neo-colonial governments and their local region and regional structures to enact policies. And so what's interesting is telling that they said that Haiti is the first place that they want to try the Global Fragilities Act. So this is a renewed Monroe Doctrine, where in the past the U.S. would send its soldiers and so on and so forth, and then now what they're doing is basically they want to use places like Jamaica, Trinidad and Tobago, Barbados to enact U.S. policies to help it deal with these fragile states, which is why.
Real quick, I mean, we've talked about the Monroe Doctrine on this show, so I'm sure some of our listeners know, but just in case, I don't want to go too far down that road because I think we need to stay on this act, but could you just clarify that real quickly, what that is and how that relates to particularly the Global Fragility Act, but just generally?
I mean, I don't have all the details of the Monroe Doctrine, except that it was a way for the U.S. to assert its power in the region and to basically get rid of the Europeans, before that. So remember, before the U.S. became a superpower, you have the countries that had colonies, former colonies in the region were France, Britain, Spain, right, for the most part. And so the U.S.
The Dutch,
the Portuguese, exactly. Also, German business interests that were coming into the region, especially right before World War I, as Germany actually was bigger. So one of the things with Monroe Doctrine was that this area, what they to this day they call the U.S. backyard, right? So that the entire region is considered the U.S. backyard.
It's our shit, basically, yeah.
Exactly, and nobody
on this side of the ocean. This is our shit, the Atlantic.
Exactly.
Shit, yeah.
Exactly, and we're the only ones that that can decide. So if you come over, you cross the Atlantic. This was especially set up against the Europeans, and so it wasn't necessarily directly connected to Haiti as much as to think about how it is that asserting its power in the region included basically taking charge, controlling the politics and economics of the region.
That was in 1820.
In 1823, right?
By the actual President Monroe.
Exactly.
Issues an actual doctrine, and then that becomes the official policy.
Right?
Yeah. So go ahead back
Exactly.
to the global.
And so the 1915 occupation comes under that, right? This kind of policy of not allowing France to basically come back in and take over.
Spanish-American War.
Exactly. So you have that, and so the Global Fragilities Act, people are saying it's an update because what the U.S. realizes that they don't have to necessarily use their own military force. Because I tell you, they're a bunch of they're cowards, right? the U.S. government.
That's the nice word. Yeah.
They are. They what was it? They dish it, but they can't take it. You know what I mean? They're cowards, right?
But see, you have to understand, the U.S. is not trying to use them white boys. They're not trying to use our soldiers. They're trying to use black folk against black folk. That's what it all comes down to. And black people who have agreed to go and get trained for this stuff, they aren't even thinking about. They're using us to fight against our own because we have been so excuse me, individualized. I want to say it's all about me, and it's not about anybody else. And they've taught us how to look at me, myself, and I. Period. We don't. They've not. They're not teaching our kids in school to be groups and teams and team players. It's always individual. They're always individualizing our children, and they do it even on our jobs. It's not about anybody else. That's why they'll tell you, "Hey, don't discuss your salary with somebody else. That's not their business." It's all individual. It's me, myself, and I. It's me and my house, and that's it. And that's what they've done. They've allowed us to get to the point where we just don't care about anything if it's black. We don't even care about each other. I don't care what you're going through, Haiti. I don't care what you're going through, Jamaica. I don't care as long as it's not me, as long as you're not touching my family. And even with our children, we don't care about our children because if we did, we wouldn't have them still in their schools. Let me read some of the comments. I'm coming over to read just a few of the comments to see who's still here. Hopefully, I'm not boring you guys too much. I love this history part of it. But I just want you guys, and I'm doing it for a reason because I want us to understand how important it is for us to care about our brothers. A leader can always be killed or replaced. Yes, yes. Hope I'm not boring you guys, but we need to know this stuff.
They are. They what was it? They dish it, but they can't take it. You know what I mean? This Global Fragilities Act then takes up this place. What it does is it uses its neo-colonial people in the region to do its dirty bidding. And this is important because what the U.S. has been doing is through the U.S. Southern Command. I don't know if you know about. We talk about AFRICOM, which is the Africa Command. But the U.S. also has what they call the Southern Command, Southcom, which is one of the 11 U.S. combatant commands that incorporates the Caribbean and South and Central America. And what it does is it develops regional militaries, right? And it has military exercises with these countries where it facilitates security cooperation, crisis action, and it funds these militaries in the region to take care of business. So if you've heard of Operation Trade Winds, which is what a yearly military operation that the U.S. military does with the militaries of like the Caribbean, Trinidad, Bahamas, Barbados, and so on and so forth. And this is how they get them into the U.S. U.S. Orbit, right? Because then the U.S. funds the military, does military exercises for you, and so you buy into this idea that you're part of this global structure. Yeah. And so that's so Operation Trade Winds, when you have they're participating in events and military exercise with the U.S. and the U.S. funds all of that and gives them equipment. They think they're part of this global process, when in reality they're being used imperial control of the region. Right. And this is why the Global Fragilities Act is important, because the first 2 or 3 countries that they want to focus on is Haiti, Libya, right? These are the 2 countries that the U.S. destroyed, right? Yes. And then the West, they call Western Coastal Africa, where there's been, quite a number of coup d'etats on the west coast of Africa through AFRICOM, training, and all these soldiers went through AFRICOM training as well. And so that's what they're doing. And so the Monroe Doctrine has shifted to use the neo-colonial governments to do what they're doing, which is why they're trying so hard to get Jamaica and all these places to send troops. What's interesting is that they want Jamaica, Trinidad, and them to send troops, but they want Canada to run it because they don't want a black country to lead this, right? Right. They want Canada to run, the force coming in using Jamaican invasion and so on soldiers.
Like you were saying, even with the UN having the UN troops, and how the troops on the ground were,
all of them. Well,
yeah, and then but the white boys were the ones like running it, So isn't this act also part of competing with China? And this is what they say. I mean, they kind of are open about this part of it.
Yes, they are.
Competing with China and the Belt Road Initiative and
yes.
Russia and all of that. And it's supposed to be more of a soft power initiative.
It's soft power. That would make USAID. Right, because the three departments that are working on this are the Department of Defense, the Department of State, and USAID. So think about this. Those are the three entities that are used to enforce the Global Fragilities Act. So you're using the development apparatus, right? And we have to know about one of the other things that the U.S. has used in Haiti, and Haiti was one of the first few places where color revolutions. They did that through Aristide, where they funded so-called student groups that were like anti-government, so-called democracy protests, right? Now, mind you, you notice that they don't call these protests happening in Haiti against imperialism pro-democracy protests. They only call certain things pro-democracy protests, right? If it's Hong Kong and if it's like a retrograde right-wing protest, then they call it pro-democracy, right? But when it's like anti-imperialist protests, they don't call it pro-democracy. But the U.S. used the National Endowment for Democracy to fund most of these organizations in Haiti. Mm-hmm. Supposedly Haitian run, are funded by the National Endowment for Democracy. You can just go to their website and do
Haiti. Which is a CIA fraud for people who don't know.
So National Endowment for Democracy it came out basically to say that what the CIA used to do covertly, regime change and so on and so forth, they found that it was actually cheaper to just pay for nonprofit organizations to do that work. So what they would do is basically say, well, why don't you get a couple people who trained in the U.S. or whatever, why don't you start a pro-democracy lobbying group? And the National Endowment for Democracy will give you what? It doesn't give you $80,000 for the year, which is not a lot of money, but it's for Haiti. If you're in Haiti and there are like 4 or 5 of you running an organization, that's a lot of money.
Yeah, because currency exchange.
Exactly. Yeah. And so that's how they've done it all over the world. And so during the oust of Aristide, what they did was fund so-called student groups, right? To basically say, we hate Aristide, we're in the color revolution, right? And so that's what they've been doing. So the USAID is perfect for that because it funds all the so-called NGOs on the ground and it determines who gets to do what. And so that itself is a regime change organization. And I think any country that has USAID in it know that it's under control.
I think the Global Fragility Act, I only learned about that, I don't know, I think it was in Black Agenda Report. I think that's actually the first time I read about it. But the whole South, the soft power thing doesn't really hold up here. And then it also seems like you hear a lot about, especially now, even with the Russian-Ukraine war, about the dollar hegemony. And,
it's changing, right?
But it's like at the same time, what you're just showing is it's not just the input, like the imposition of just the money, but like the way that the U.S. still is able to dictate through military, and how it's particularly with these trainings that you're talking about.
These military exercises that they have every year. They have one in West Africa with Senegal. It's called Operation Lion something. Yeah, so that's how they do it, right? It looks like soft power, but it really is about, training people to do the dirty work and providing them with equipment. Just like they're providing Ukraine, with all this equipment so that they can fight to the last Ukrainian.
Yeah, and it's like, and even though Ukraine can't win that war,
they can't.
But
they're giving their bodies. They're killing 100,000 some people.
But you've trained, many of them Nazis. Like you trained up a force that you can then deploy elsewhere.
Exactly.
Even if you lose, because again, you're not winning that war.
But isn't that what America does? They use everybody else to fight their war. We all know that the U.S. is fighting Russia through Ukraine. We all know that, and they know that Ukraine can possibly win that war, but they don't care. They just want to say we helped. And just want to have their hands in something. But that's what the U.S. does. Also wanted to talk just a little bit of, I think this is almost done. Let's see how much more. We have just a little bit more. We have maybe about 10 more minutes, you guys, and then we'll be done. But I wanted to touch on the California reparations. I do want to talk about that also. So just hang in there. Give me 10 more minutes with this, and then we'll get on the reparations thing.
Exactly.
Much as sitting on 300,000 people that haven't shown up yet. Like you're not winning that war. But
exactly.
But they build up these troops that then can be galvanized. And I don't think enough. We were talking about leftist governments, but just the left in general. I don't think there's enough discussion on the actual military buildups that occur. Like everybody wants to talk about BRICS and the money side of it. But when people talk about multipolarity, like I don't hear enough discussion just about the way that the U.S. is still maintaining a lot of its hegemony, not through just the economic, but just particularly the military. Yeah.
Exactly. But and also the domination that brings you into the fold, right? Makes you think that this is not against you. This is us helping you and giving you, it's called capacity building, right? Because that's the NGO lingo, right? To give you capacity to help you help yourself. And so all these countries, like, that Mia Mottley, who's, the leftist darling, right? The Barbadian prime minister who always talks about the environment and everybody thinks he's a leftist. She's part of this, Operation Trade Winds. She lets her military force go in there. And so part of that is also like, you have over the years the ideological war and the educational war. So all these people who now have these positions in the Caribbean and the region, they're most of them are trained in the U.S. and they're trained in the same neoliberal, a model of seeing what the U.S. is right. And so they then become, they're former like World Bank executives, NGO executives that then become like prime ministers in these countries. And so they're ideologically already ready to play that role that the U.S. needs them to play. And I think you're right in terms of thinking, even as, you have the move from the petrodollar, the so-called, multipolarity with BRICS growing, I think the military part is going to be interesting. And the thing is, if you don't follow the rule of the U.S., and this is why Haiti is, if people didn't exceptionalize Haiti so much, Haiti's a good case to study, because how they can destabilize and destroy a government and then turn around and say, we need to come and help you. And all these so-called leftist governments who are still working with the U.S., Petro is still like working with the U.S. in Colombia, and we don't know what Lula's going to do, or Lopez Obrador. They need to be careful, because once they do the wrong thing, then they will be cooled, right?
They've trained up all these different military, whatever. Yeah. And like you said, it's different than just the U.S. sending troops everywhere and just saying this is ours, and just the typical like direct colonialism. Now we're going to train people up. Well, like you said, we're going to make you feel like you're part of the fold. It becomes its own way of like development, like everything else, exactly. Right? Like, so the military things, like, okay, you can develop your military as well as we'll help you develop other parts of your economy, because you think you need a military. In many ways, you probably do, because even people on the borders or whatever, wherever you currently are staying, you might have real conflict with them. So like you said, you can naively sign up for it. And then they can exploit all the different class differences, like we talked about with Haiti. Those exist in other places too. Exactly. You can exploit all those differences, bring that stuff in. But then we've seen this over and over again. The moment anybody gets even a tip of a spine and just doesn't want to go along with the program, that same military can be used against you.
Exactly. Exactly.
Because ideologically, they're on the side of the U.S. Because, like you said, they've been trained by them. And so they don't just train them in how to shoot people. They train them in all the other things, too, all the counterinsurgencies and all this other stuff.
Exactly. And that's the way, and we have to look to Africa too, right? Because there've been how many coup d'etats in the past couple of years, and people will tell you a lot of these soldiers were trained by AFRICOM, right? Through military exercises through AFRICOM, and even when you have French soldiers, French imperialism in Africa is underwritten by U.S. imperialism, because the French cannot do anything without the U.S. help, without the U.S. soldiers in the military. So it is. And so these countries that are allowing the U.S. to be in their countries, they should know the U.S. doesn't have friends, right? It only has people that it uses, right? And when you no longer, need it, what was it, Henry Kissinger's quote? Like, to be an enemy of the U.S. is terrible, but to be a friend of the U.S. is deadly,
Literally.
So that to me is something we need to remember.
Yeah, I just don't, even, again, I know there's a lot of growing.
Did you just hear that? To be a friend is deadly, right? To be an enemy is okay. But to be a friend and call yourself a friend with U.S., that's not happening. That's not happening at all. But we have to understand how the U.S. has operated all the time. This is nothing new. Let me see. You see the New Deal. Let's see what is getting things done. A leader can always be killed or replaced. Yes. No, it's going to be a game changer. The government and these corporations are hurting regular folk. We suffer from the decisions that they make. That's true. It's karma for them, especially when they made OPC use the dollar as the official currency in purchasing oil originally. That's true. But see, we don't understand. We just really don't get it. We don't, not yet, but we will. We will. We're gonna get there. But we're gonna talk about a little bit now about this California reparations. Thank you guys for hanging in there, and we're gonna talk about this California reparations. How they are concerned that the little white folk gonna try to get in on our reparations. This is so funny because we don't bother anybody else when they trying to get their little reparations. The Indians got reparations, the Asians got reparations, the Pacific Islanders got reparations. I hope you guys can hear me and see me. But anytime it's time for us to get anything, they have an issue with us. They always want to come in and they always want to, get in on our stuff, right? Instead of just allowing us to be. They never allow us to just be. It's always, they want to come in and see, well, let's see what we can, how we can impact or how we can get in on getting some of that black money. It's never, they're never going to just allow us to have our fun. Okay. So let's talk a little bit, just a little bit, you guys, and then we're going to go. I just didn't want to spend a whole long time doing this. I think we've been on here a little longer than I wanted to be, but I still wanted to kind of get this, talk about this California reparations. And my thing is the HR 40, right? They're talking about a study. Well, hey, now we don't need the HR study. All they have to do is just use California's, but California's going to have to change the language if they don't want other people to get in on this reparations. They're going to have to get with an attorney that can understand what's going on, and they're going to have to change the language. Okay, let's see what you say at 49. They're going to give it to the Asians and Mexicans. Yes, exactly. But when it's time, when that's our time, it's everybody's time, right? Under the bill signed by Governor Gavin Newsom in 2021 or 2020, sorry, Californians is looking into possible ways of providing restitution to Black Americans who experienced the generational effect of slavery. And the state of reparations plan might potentially benefit white identifying individuals, some analysts have said. But let me tell you something with that. If you have been passing as a white person and getting white folks benefits that we couldn't get, you shouldn't even be able to qualify. No way, no shape, no how on it is Black reparations. If you have benefited from these white folk, if you have benefited from getting those benefits that the white folk have gotten, you shouldn't be allowed to touch anything Black folk are trying to get. Okay. Her name is this lady right here is one of the ladies that's speaking out on the reparations. She's an activist. I don't know why we always got to have those titles. Kayvon Ward speaks at a ceremony to return ownership of Bruce's Beach to the descendants of the Black family who had the land stripped from them nearly a century ago on July 20th in Manhattan Beach, California. The state has taken on a mission to provide restitution to the Black Americans who have experienced generational efforts of slavery as part of a wide-scale racial justice effort following the death of George Floyd. But some experts are now concerned that the state reparations plan might potentially benefit white identifying individuals. And if they identify as white, that shouldn't even be a problem right there. 9-member reparation task force was deployed to travel across the state and develop reparations recommendations and proposal solutions as to its findings, which takes into account the harms that Black people have suffered. My thing is that HR 40 bill shouldn't even be an issue right now. It should not even be something that we would even look at right now, because if California has already done it, we don't have to redo it. That wheel has already been invented. Let's go with whatever the California is saying. But I still think that every Black person needs to at least get $500,000, if not $1 million per family. I'm serious, because we have been the only ones that was in captivity for over 500 years. We are still the only ones that is suffering right now with disparities as far as financial wise. We're still the only ones that have gone through the Jim Crow and all this other stuff that we've gone through with them. So 280,000 is just not enough, I don't think. But if you want to start there, you can start there. But I think it needs to go up some, at least to a half a million, if not $1 million per family. Seriously. But they're not going to do that because of the simple fact. And then I've heard people say, well, they're getting ready to switch over to currency. Well, if you know that, why would you leave your million in American money? You switch it into gold or silver and you would never lose your wealth. Then you go and buy some land in other countries. Don't go and spend your wealth or your reparation money in America. I would never do that. I would take my money and I would spend it in different areas, Costa Rica. I'm just saying, I would spend it somewhere else. Give me a small piece of land and I would build right there. And I would never spend my money in America. They would give that money and I would take it right out of the country and I would invest it in somewhere else. That right there, that would be the best thing black folk could ever do. And that right there will bankrupt America because they think that most of the black folk will put that money back into America. We don't have to do that. Most black folk, if you take that money and you invest it in other countries, we'll bankrupt America. But hopefully, a lot more black folk. I'm listening, and they go, "Oh, we buy houses, we buy land, we buy a car." So but still, you purchasing in America. Take that money out and find you a nice island, like I said, Costa Rica or Panama or somewhere where that you can live peaceably. Even in Africa, you can buy some land in Africa. I know a guy friend is selling it for $600. Plus, you can build a little building, a nice little house for under $10,000. I'm just saying. This is, and then you invest the rest in silver, and you can invest in like maybe a little coffee shop or a little bookstore, or I'm just saying, you can have your own business, whatever your dream is. You invest that money into that business in that country, possibly, okay, and have the African American community in that country to support you. Or you can still have that support of the West. You might, okay, even if you stay in the West, open up your own business, and we still can keep that money amongst us. Then we still will hurt America. It's just the way you have to look at it. So they're saying a 9-member reparations task force was deployed to travel across the states to develop reparations recommendations and propose solutions to its findings, which takes into account the harms that Black people have suffered. Okay. In March 2022, reports the task force said that those eligible for reparations should be descendants of enslaved African Americans or a free Black person living in the United States prior to the end of the 19th century. In its interim report released in June, the task force was able to determine 12 areas of harm identified as the lingering effects of slavery, which we still have stuff going on right now, said task force member Javon Scott Lewis, a professor of the University of California, Berkeley, and geographer who researched reparations. I hope they have a few attorneys on this here, and I would put Dr. Claude Anderson also on it. Yeah, I would do that. Also, Ice-T, he had that plan for Black America. I would have him on that because I want to see it. I want to see his plan. I want to match it up. And my thing is have a couple of civil rights attorneys. I'm not talking about sellout attorneys. I'm talking about real Black attorneys that have Black folk heart in mind. Okay, these areas are enslavement, racial terror, political disenfranchisement, housing segregation, separate and unequal education, racism and environment and infrastructure, pathological, the Black family control over creative culture and intellectual life, stolen labor and hindered opportunity, and unjust legal system, mental and physical harm, and neglect, and the wealth gap. Okay, those are some good things. I'm liking it so far. So far, so good. So far, so good. Let's continue reading. We're almost done, you guys. Lewis said that the task force was able to identify 5 keys area that could be supported by some form of compensatory framework, because those were the ones that were currently backed by data from the economics team. The five areas identified by the team are housing, discrimination, mass incarceration, unjust property seizure, devaluation of black businesses, and healthcare. Those issues factor into determining the reparations based on housing and discrimination along that occurred between 1933 and 1977. 569 billion in reparations would need to be paid. I think it's way more than that. That is too low. The African American in California amounts to 223,000 per person, which still is not enough. That's not nearly enough money. Concern, but my thing is I wouldn't turn it down, but I just think that they could do better. Concerning concerns about the current eligibility criteria. Some experts are concerned that the current language of the eligibility criteria might open the door for individuals identifying as white to possibly receive reparation money if they prove descendants and meet the eligibility criteria. My thing is change the language and make sure that they can't get a dime. Just change the language, and you got to have lived as a black person and not lived as a white person. If you've lived as a white person for the last 30, 40 years and your whole lineage has been lived as a white person, you don't give a dime. You've just forfeited because you didn't have to suffer the way a person of my color would have, because you could always make a choice, and you made a choice to live white. Okay. So William Diety, a professor of public policy, African American studies in Duke University, told Newsweek that the way in which the language of the eligibility requirement is worded, it may open the door to that possibility. There's always problems if the proposal is designed or written in such a way that individuals who are currently living as white, who may have ancestors in those two categories, would be eligible for black reparations, so that in the potential problem, dear, she said, but guess what? With the Indians, when they gave all those Indians money, it's still some black Indians that didn't get a dime because they said you had to prove blah 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 blah. My thing is, back in the day, a lot of Indians didn't keep birth certificates, so you can't tell an Indian who looks Indian, who family history was Indian, that they couldn't get that money. But a lot of those dark Indians didn't get that. Those $5 Indians got the money, but the dark black Indians that look like me, they didn't get a lot of that money, and they still can't. So how is that fair? Now you want to say, oh, if your great grandma was black, but now you look white and you pass as white, then you get some money. Come on now. How crazy does that sound? That sounds ridiculous to me. That just don't sound right. He explained that if this is the complete language of the eligibility criteria, it is possible that an individual who is not living as a black person in the United States could claim eligibility. Not so. Somebody whose ancestors were enslaved, subjected to cattle slavery, somewhere else might be able to come forward too. If that's the complete language, he said, I think it's problematic. If somebody who has lived in a world where there are benefits and advantages of being white and who has lived under those conditions make a claim to reparations, I think that's highly problematic and unethical. Okay. But these people ain't got no ethics, so they'll go for the unethical. They don't care. Meanwhile, whoever this attorney and founder and director of Reparations Election Project told Newsweek that white individuals who could possibly use the task force criteria to claim reparations would probably do so by proving ancestors that was mostly a result of tragic events in the past. Most of the ancestors might be probably from rape of a black woman and girls. She says, adding that the possibility that people who identified as white could qualify for reparations is very problematic. For people of another race to be able to capitalize off of that based on lineage criteria is allowed of a loophole for them to be able to apply. It's really nonsensical, and it's even more ironic or slap on the face when lineages might be based on rape. Okay. However, Lewis, who is the task force member, clarified that the eligibility criteria is specific to a black individual who can claim descendants, okay, from one of these classes of individuals we're talking about people who today are recognized as African Americans and who can also establish lineage to the African American person enslaved in the country, free persons prior to 1900s. White individuals need to prove that they've been harmed. Okay, now that right there might be an issue right there. They have to prove that they have been affected like we have. Okay, prison wise, home, all this stuff. Okay, and most white folk has not been harmed. Okay. Through Lewis said that there will not be specific race-based requirements per the reparations eligibility criteria. He also confirmed that the persons has to prove that they have been impacted by ongoing discrimination that stems from American history. He said the person claiming eligibility based upon lineage has to prove that they have been harmed by the lineage effects of slavery. So we're thinking about housing discrimination. We're thinking about mass incarceration. We're thinking about experiences that have impacted a particular community that is having a decent from having a decent from a person enslaved in the country. He says, adding that some might think it's very feasible for a white America to claim to have an ancestor who was enslaved. However, they're talking about there being this dual criteria by which one has to be able to determine eligibility rooted in this historical phenomenon, slavery, and its historical community, while it's also facing an ongoing consequences of racism in the society. Lewis explained, as so, it's hard to imagine that there will be a white America who would be able to claim that they have an ancestor who was enslaved and who would also then say that they identified as a community of Black Americans that have been victimized to the ongoing lineage effects. Other concerns about the current eligibility criteria. Still, Tafia thinks that the risk forces lineage decisions would be more limited to terms of determining the number of Black people who are eligible for reparations. Honestly, I think everyone should try to trace their ancestor, but it should not be required mandate as a precondition to be able to qualify for reparations, she said. This lady, Tafia, also recommended that reparations claims eligibility should go beyond the enslavement era to include Black individuals who suffered discrimination in California up to 1965. So they should be automatically deemed eligible without having to go through exhausting genealogy studies and analysis. There is a category of immigrations who have been here for a long time and were subjected to Jim Crow, apartheid, and suffer the same type of educational inequalities, health disparities, and mass incarceration, she said, as she also explained that some Black individuals might be excluded from the reparations based plan based on its current language. But Lewis said that this is something that the task force of California is looking into. Okay, they need to really look into this, that you don't leave no doors open. Don't shut every door, cement them things if you have to. The task force currently reparation plan is not the final one. Members are set to send recommendations to Governor Newsom, and they are still currently working on those recommendations. The New York Times reported was an earlier and preliminary representation from the economics team that is working on what potential costs might be. Lewis said basically between now and March, the task force will be coming up with finalizing the recommendations that we will send on to the state in our final report this coming summer. I still say the amount is too low. They have a poll down here. They say, do you agree that the state of California should find ways to prove restitution to Black Americans who experienced the generalization efforts of slavery? Of course, everybody else get money. What the heck are you talking about? They also have stories on here. California Reparations Board debated costs of requiring ancestor proof. California reparations could see 2.8 million African American compensated. California representation could see Newsom's give Black Americans $223,000 each. That's still not enough money. I understand what they're trying to do, but my thing is, at least all of the hell that we went through, I think they should ante up, give a little bit more. Hey, Panda, Strike Backs, how are you? Yes, I'm still in Kenya. I leave on Tuesday. I know white people in Cali who identified as black. You say what? You know white? How are they gonna identify? No, you know what? If they've lived as a white person, Brandy, they shouldn't get a dime. I'm sorry. No, I'm not ready to come back. You know I'm not. They not giving nobody reparations in California. Hey, you need to not say that because you'll be the first one in line trying to get your little check. So you can, I already know what you're gonna do with your money. You're gonna get that money, come right on back to Africa and start building on your land. I already know that. But yeah, so no, we cannot. That door needs to be closed. They need to have, I mean, not just one attorney, they need several attorneys, so that they can really make sure that those doors are closed. And I'm telling you, if you have white folks that's been living as white folks and they've been, progressing and they've been getting all the benefits that white folk get, you can't turn around and say, "Oh, I had disparities." No, you ain't have no disparities. No. So you need to have a whole seat and sit down and let black folk get what black folk get. Because you got black folk that are Indians, but they weren't able to get the money that the reparations, quote unquote, that Biden gave to the Indians, right? So why, and even though we know that they have some Indian in their lineage, they still can't qualify to get some of that money that was given to the Indians. And you got black Asians too that couldn't get the money that they gave to China, to the Asians, the white ones. So my thing is, no, you cannot been here living as a white person and still qualify. Okay, so no, that's not gonna work. So I hope you guys have understood, and this has just been a history lesson, and it's all about history. And I do believe that we're all one. We cannot get to the point where we separating this thing and said, okay, well, that's happening in Haiti, and that's what I wanted to do. That's why I did two things in Haiti, as far as Haiti was concerned, because I wanted us to understand that it's not the gangs. If the media is telling you something about Haiti, it's not the gangs. They're not. It's not about the gangs. But if it was about the gangs, where do you think those gang members, those young gang members, gave? Where would they get the guns from? Okay. Let me see what your question. They are not no version in California. Okay. Are you at? No. Kenya. 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 Mm-mm-mm. Hey, I should leave the what I'm gonna give you the link, Brady. You want the link to come on? Did you got something to say? Let me see. This is just for somebody. If you got something to say, you want to come on here and have something to say, feel free. You know me. I never want to be the only one talking, but a lot of people don't want to come on. So I pretty much have just, but that's the link if you want to come on. If you want to come on and have something to say, feel free. But my thing is, I just, it's all, and I want black people to get to the place where we are considering and seeing ourselves as one and not just so individualized. If they're talking about, Haiti, if they're talking about Africa, then you sit up there and say, no, they're not talking about me. No, they are talking about you. All right, let's see who we got coming on. Let's go and add our boy. Come on in.
Cassie. Well, I got questions about your trip to Africa. Don't nobody want to talk about no American fake reparations they trying to use for getting niggas to vote for Gavin Newsom.
Hey,
Gavin Newsom.
I
Cassie,
thought it was a great opportunity.
Gavin Newsom is running for president in 2024. He doesn't have a snowball's chance in hell of winning because he's run California into the ground. So throwing out the possibility of reparations to Negroes is his way of securing the black vote. Same thing Joe Biden did with defund the police. This is what the Democrats do. What do they really care about? What do they really want? Let's pretend like we're going to give it to them once we get their vote at 90%, because black people vote Democrat at 90%. Once we get 90% of their vote, then when we get elected, we just tell them, hey, we tried, we couldn't get it. Sorry, too bad. Because the minute he tries to distribute those reparations payment, California will get sued for that, because that technically would be unconstitutional, because they already have precedent way back in the 1800s saying that nobody can get paid reparations for the losses that they took due to slavery. Whites got their little reparations. Indians got their little reparations. but they made laws basically where black folks can't do it. But hey, keep hope alive. My question is, my question is, did you like Kenya or Rwanda better?
Oh my God, Brandon. Every country has their perks. I love Kenya. I liked Rwanda. The only thing that I saw in Rwanda was the transportation. It was a problem. They don't have Uber, they don't have Bolt, and the transportation to get around was horrible. You catch a cab and they charge you $25, $30 to take you around the corner. So that was an issue for me.
You lying?
But
They was ripping you off on the cab rides.
yeah. Oh yeah. The cab rides was like $20, $30 to go around the corner. Yeah, it was, and they didn't have Uber, so it was only you just sometimes you just jump on the back of one of the motorcycles and and they'll take you around for $1 or $2. But if you had to really go somewhere, it was about $30 to 25 $30 to go, and it was really literally around maybe 10 minutes away. It wasn't that far, still in the city, but just depending on where you were in Rwanda, because it was beautiful, no trash. It was a gorgeous country. It was beautiful. It was amazing. The cleanest country I've ever seen in Africa so far. I've only seen 6, but it's been the cleanest. And they had even that Saturday before we left, they had a group gathering where everybody come out and they pick up the trash in their area. And you don't see the trash that you see in different places, but that was the only thing that I saw was the transportation. But
Sounds like slave labor to me, forcing me to clean up.
but guess what? You look at your area and it's beautiful. It's beautiful. But Kenya is growing on me. I love it. I love it. I love it. I'm telling you. But it's just I want to go see other places. And I tell
What?
anybody,
Wait. What
huh?
6 countries have you went to? You said 6 countries. What all countries you went to?
I've gone to Zanzibar. I've gone to Dar es Salaam. I've gone to Rwanda, Kenya, and I've gone to hold on, Zanzibar, Tanzania. So yeah, okay, 5. So I've gone to 5 different places, but I want to go more. I want to go to Gambia. I want to go to the other side. Okay, we've done this side, but my thing, the next trip, I want to go to Gambia. I tried to go to Ghana. It was just too hard to get into Ghana. So Ghana's not
Yeah, you gotta
somewhere.
have a I heard you gotta have the COVID vaccine to get over there.
Well, yeah, you did. I checked with that, and they wanted you to send your passport in, and but that's not something I'm not gonna. If I have to have that, I'm not going. So that
Yeah,
don't be a
that's
place
too
that I would
much.
go. I'm not doing that. But a lot of places you did need the COVID. You don't need the test anymore. Kenya was the only one that we've gone to that actually needed the a COVID test to come back into Kenya, because we went out and we went to the other places, had to have a COVID test to come back into Kenya. But I'm telling you, if you've not gone, you are missing out. If you are not visiting or have it on your bucket list, you are missing out. I'm telling you, this is the best thing. And we're gonna talk more, Brandy, because I want to check out some of that land. I do want a piece of that land that you talk to me. So let's talk about that land that you have. Talk to us about that.
Man,
Come
you know,
on.
one of my OAP members, Janelle, she was out there while y'all was out there. That's why you couldn't get my place again, because she was staying
Mhm.
there.
Uh-huh.
She went out to the land. She loved it, man. She was like, Brandon, this is so perfect. I love it. Love the
Man,
location.
we're gonna
That's why I
talk
was
about that.
that's why I was telling you to go up there.
But
You was
well,
slipping,
it's,
dude.
it's other things that I was doing, trying to do, and it just didn't work out for me. But that's okay. It's other times. I'm coming back. This is not the only
I
trip.
don't I don't
The land.
I don't
Um,
think Nairobi is the best place for us. I think the coast where my land is, I think that's
um,
the best place. Because
you
it's
know,
so
I met a lady that was talking about where the land is, Melinda, that she was talking about. And I said, what do you think? She said, it's beautiful. She said, it is amazing. She said, it's not busy. It takes you out. So, you're out in the country. You're by the
it's so
beach.
beautiful.
That's what she was
It's
saying.
it's
I'm
it's
like,
like the ocean. I'm talking about white sand beaches,
yes.
palm trees, clear blue water, more clear than Hawaii, clear
Wow.
blue water, clearer than Florida or any of that stuff, or the
Wow.
Bahamas. And
Now they
then,
had clear water in Tanzania when we went to Zanzibar. They had the clear beaches there because we went
yeah,
out and
that's just like how the beaches are in Zanzibar. That's how the
yeah,
beaches are in
beautiful.
Malindi.
Oh my God. Zanzibar beaches were amazing. I'm like, We went out to a little bit out left Stone Town. We went out to swim with they swam with the dolphins. I looked at them swim with the dolphins because I wasn't getting in that water. I wasn't getting in there with that. You're in the ocean. You don't have any life jackets. And they talking about jumping in the water, swimming with dolphins. I'm not
The
jumping in
water only like Cassie. The water only like 3 feet deep. It ain't like you could drown.
Whatever. No, that water was no 3 feet away. We was way out. I mean, we was way out.
You gotta go way. You gotta go way out to get deep water. But that's why I'm saying, like, if you think about Africa, like the number one beach in the world is Diani Beach in Kenya. So think about it. Zanzibar got really nice beaches, but if Kenya got the number one beach in the world in Diani Beach, Kenya is like it's like you got all those things without having to travel. You just stay in one country. That's why I really like it, because it's like you got the white sand beaches. Then the backdrop of that is like the countryside where you could go farm and all that. That I just like the fact that everything is in a one-stop shop. You know what I'm saying?
Everything is right here. Everything was right here.
I think that's the appeal of Kenya for like the Chinese and the Lebanese, because everything is in one place versus having to cross borders to go, see this, go here, see this nice stuff. But nah, I'm glad you went out there though. I'm glad you experienced it. And then, hey, but I'll tell you one thing, ain't no place like South B, man.
I told you this is not the first. This is not the first and the last trip. I'm coming back. I'm telling you. I already told my husband next time you want to come on, brother, because I may be here a little longer.
Hey,
it was so worth it.
That's my neighborhood right there, where my apartment is. I love that neighborhood. Yeah. I love it. I just said like, okay, because of course you go to like the nicer parts, and people are like, why don't you stay in this more affluent area? You can afford it. I'm like, nah, I want to stay right here because it's like a neighborhood. There's people
right in the
around.
heart. Yeah, it's right in the heart of everything.
I love that.
To just see different parts of Kenya, so we just went to different parts. When I couldn't get back to my rooftop, I'm just saying I had to go somewhere else. But
she said I couldn't get back to my rooftop. Hey.
I was addicted. I'm sorry. I was addicted. That is my apartment. That's my place, Brandon. I was so hurt. I was like, what in the world? I was coming back to my rooftop. But because I couldn't go, I did experience other parts of Africa, which is amazing also. But that area, if you want to be with the people, Brandon has the best. It's a rooftop. And I'm telling you, you guys, it's a rooftop. It's beautiful. You get to see all of Kenya. It is amazing. I loved it. It was comfortable. I felt safe. I didn't feel like I had to do this and look around. It wasn't none of that, because I'd be out there walking with the rest of them. Because guess what? In Kenya or in Africa, you're black. If you don't open your mouth, they don't know where you come from. If you don't talk, they don't know.
Now you see how we be thinking when like we be on YouTube and people get on there saying dumb shit. They don't like you in Africa. It's like, if you just keep your mouth shut, they don't even know where you're from. So how can they not like you? They're just like, are you a Nigerian? That's what they're going to ask.
People that have never gone anywhere, or these are people that has that individual tribalism mindset that want to, I'm Nigerian, and I'm Caribbean, and well, look, you black. When white folk look at you, you BLACK, whatever. And when you're in Africa, like you said, if you don't open your mouth, nobody knows that you're African American unless you open your mouth. Nobody knows.
Yeah, and even if they find out, they ain't tripping. They like you.
They're not tripping. What you doing? Exactly. Me and my daughter was walking, right, and we were just talking, and we had a couple of individuals said, "Hey, where are you guys from in the States?" They knew because we were talking, and they joined in with the conversation. As, "Hey, have you been here? Have you been here? Have you gone there?" And it was I have not felt any pressures, any dangers. I've not felt like somebody was going to harm me. I've not felt anything like I felt in America. I go in America and I'm looking around in the stores, like, it's you feel more or more danger in America than I do here. People, a lot of my friends say, "Hey, be careful in Africa." I'm like, no, you be careful in America. I'm just saying, because it's more dangerous there than it is here. I've not seen one teenager get shot. I've not seen one teenager get one police officer beating anybody, harassing anybody. I've not seen any of the American style, what people say, "Oh, be careful." I'm looking at them like, are you serious? You need to be careful. I'm good.
even on the side of black people, like you don't see nobody acting all hostile and crazy and
No,
wild and shit like here. Like, what are
people
you
are
doing?
minding their business, Brandon. I have been out walking, and I mean walk. I have been walking. I've not walked so much in my life, but I'm
Right.
just I didn't get in a car. I'm just walking, just looking, and I mean I've walked so far. I've had to have a boat to bring me back. But I'm telling you, it's just so amazing, and you just mingling, you mixing and mingling, and you just having a good time.
Nah,
Period.
hey, 100% facts. So when you gonna come on my channel to talk about your first trip to Kenya? Because I need to have you on there talking because we got a lot of stuff to do on the land. We got to build a
We do.
security house out there, and I
Yes.
want to try to do it like a group project. I don't want
Yes.
it just to be like let's pay some Kenyans to do it because I mean
No.
a little security shack shouldn't be that hard to build. I bet we could get out there and just build it together. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah, yeah. I'm told you when we come. Well, I'm coming back on Tuesday. I'll be back on Wednesday. I'll be back in the States. But my thing is, we're gonna talk about because I do want. I already talked to you about. I do want to purchase some land. I do, and
Yeah.
I whatever I and I'm bringing. I want to bring some friends down. I was talking to a couple of my girlfriends, and we want to go to. They want to visit the villa that you talked about the villa. So we're gonna talk
Oh
about
man.
that too. Yeah, it's the probably I think it was 5 bedrooms, and I think if I can get 5 friends, which I already talked to 3 of them, and I'm 4, so just need one more that want to go. But they are looking into visiting that villa, and I'm like maybe next year sometime, but we'll talk more about that
Yeah.
because that villa and have that little the guy that's gonna do the cooking for us, so we don't have to cook anything. That's gonna be amazing. But yeah, so I'm telling you, if I'm tell anybody if they've not gone to Africa, you are missing a treat. You are not even living. You are if you are settling for America and not even thinking about traveling to Africa because of something you heard from somebody that's never been to Africa. I feel sorry for you. You're missing it.
Yeah.
You
Yeah.
are
People.
missing it.
People literally steal other people's
Yeah,
opportunities for
yeah,
happiness with malicious lies and
yeah.
assumptions that are baseless, right? And that's what I was saying so many years. Like I was just like, look, forget all this dumb shit in America that people try to have
Yes,
you hopped up on. Go
yes.
to Africa, see what
Oh,
it's like. And if you want to be at peace, like I went with my adopted mama and daddy, Jen and Robert,
uh-huh.
and Robert just kept saying, Brandon, I feel like I'm at peace.
Yes, I'm
I don't
telling
gotta
you.
worry about nothing. I just feel like I'm at
No,
peace. Hey, Rob was ready to move that day. He said, I got
I
my retirement. He said, I don't gotta go back. He said, damn America, I don't gotta ever go back.
Man, I know.
Man.
I'm telling you, Brandon, I have not felt, not one time have I ever felt unsafe. And I was caught out there walking, little, like, and I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel like I was like scared. I didn't feel like, oh my God, I have to look over my shoulder. I didn't feel that. I didn't feel where I was going to be robbed at any moment, any second. I felt peace. I'm telling you,
Yeah.
I have not felt. I've not the last 6 weeks that I've been here, it's been so rejuvenating. It's been life changing for me because I'm understanding how things are and how they work, and I'm experiencing some stuff I've never experienced before in America. And people don't understand. You have to get from the trauma in order to free yourself, in order for your mind to be free, in order for your spirit to be free. And people aren't they just think that this is how you have to live. No, you don't have to live in trauma. No, because I'm gonna tell you what. Let me get my hands on some money. I'm out. Trust and believe.
Man, hey, I'm
Trust me.
hey,
The first time I can retire and get but I'm trying to do it before then. I'm telling you, I'm
you
out.
get
I
you
don't
get this
care.
you get this damn YouTube channel booming, you'll be able to just take off. You need to just keep
That's
on.
my
Hey,
thing. Look, I need some training. Hey, I'm gonna have to get up under you, and you have to train me to understand how I need to get it to roll. But my thing
hey,
is, I'll be able
you
to
got it.
train.
You got the charisma and everything. All you need to do is just be. I would just say be more frequent on other people's channels that are bigger, and
Uh-huh.
people will gravitate towards your channel because that's what I did. I went on African Tigress and I went on Dynus and just try to be the smartest nigga on the panel, and people eventually just slide over to you like I like what he talking. You know what I'm saying? Because you're like that. You have your opinions are good, You have charisma. And the bigger thing is, you're in Africa. You should have
Yeah.
been posting a lot of videos about what you're doing over there. That draws people in. I would much rather watch you in Africa than somebody like African Tigress or some shit like that. Because you real, you know what I'm saying? You ain't over there trying to make like a fake narrative. You are talking about what you're really experiencing.
Yeah.
Not
Yeah.
trying to say, oh, I got robbed on the streets of Nairobi. That shit is trauma stuff. Like
Like,
trying
what
to
the hell you talking about? I saw that. I didn't even look at it because my thing is,
that's man,
you live
that
here
girl
and you
be
talking about you got rat. I was like,
that
I've
girl
been
be
here.
lying. Hey, that girl be lying, man. I'm telling
Well,
you,
I'm
she
gonna
be
tell
making
you what, I have not, and I'm telling you, Brandy, I have not felt threatened. I've not felt that somebody was trying to rob, trying to hurt, trying to scam. I've not felt any of that. I'm serious. And for her, and I saw that title, and I'm like, I don't want to. That's I didn't
nah,
experience that.
people look, everybody trying to get the clicks and the views, but they don't understand.
Don't lie about it.
You don't have to do that.
No, you
People
don't.
wanna it's like when you
They
went to
want
my
truth.
It's like when you went to my Airbnb and you was like, "This is amazing, right?"
Yeah,
What you
yeah.
liked is that you
I
got what
put it
you
on.
paid
I put
for.
a video out there about it, Brandy. We were on the rooftop, and I'm showing everything. I mean, it was amazing. You get to see all of Africa. I was so high. I was like, oh my god, it was just. I'm telling you, and then you just want to cry because you're so free,
Yeah,
huh?
yeah. And it's man, but you know the thing too, Kelsey, you came, you plugged into a good little network of people,
Yeah,
me, Afontis, all of
yeah,
us and stuff.
yeah,
That's the
yeah.
real protection in Africa. When
Hmm.
you plug into a nice network of people
Yeah,
versus just being like an individualist and
right.
trying to lord over other people, like,
No,
oh, I got money now, I'm better than
no,
you. That's when you're gonna just be like getting taken advantage of because
yeah,
you even get taken advantage of when you do that type of stuff here. That's why you got rich people out here who don't trust nobody and
yeah.
oh, I don't, because but nah, you did good. You're doing good. Your
It's just
daughter left
getting
already?
there. She did. My daughter's in Amsterdam. This is a traveling queen. I mean,
Oh,
she is all. I'm like, look, she showed me some snow, right? And I showed her the sunshine in Africa. I'm like, you over there with all of that over there, and I'm over here with this. And she was like, oh my god, I'm so jealous because she ended up loving Kenya. She ended up loving Kenya. I'm like, what in the world is going on? But
yeah,
she,
man. Hey, listen, I'm telling you, it's the thing is, no people expect things to be like bad, nothing's working. But when you get the right place, like my apartment, the internet is working good, the
yes, yes,
elevator working good, you
yes.
like, okay, I could do this. I can really be here. This is cool.
Everything. I didn't have one problem. I was able to work while I was there. I had no internet problem. Uh, the elevator, everything works. And so when you listen to other people and they're trying to tell you the bad part of Africa, I didn't see any of that. I'm like, what part were you at? I mean, I've experienced a couple of parts, and both parts was great for me. So I've not experienced that, but I can't wait to go to that Melindy. I am so
Yeah.
ready. I am so ready, Brandon, and
She said
excited about
Melinda.
that. What is it, Melindy? Right,
Yeah, it's
Melindy.
fine. You did it. Yeah,
Okay, how are you pronouncing it? How you pronouncing it?
Melindy, the same one as you.
Okay,
But you
Melindy.
said
Okay.
Melinda. That was funny.
I am so ready and so excited just to see that part. And I just hate that I didn't. And you said I was gonna hate it, but I hate that I didn't. But it was some other stuff going on where I couldn't at that time. So I said, well, I'll go next time. But yeah, I'm taking a group of people when we go out there. We're gonna take a group of women, so we can just chill. We're gonna get the stress of the world off our shoulders, and we're gonna have a week. And I want to do at least 5 to 7 days when I do go.
Well, I'll give you a plug. If you help if you help me, well, you can pretty much recruit people to come to Africa, to Kenya with us next year to
Oh God,
build this
yeah,
security house, and we
yeah.
can make that a OAP Realm in the Bush
Mhm.
joint project just to get
Absolutely.
that that security spot built up on the land. And we could also talk about people making land purchases too.
Yeah.
Pretty
Yeah.
much be like, hey, come help us build the security shack,
Yeah.
and then
Yeah.
we can it will benefit everybody because if you help
Yeah.
build it and then you buy land, that's somebody who's going to be able to watch over and secure your
And I have
property.
and I have at least 3 women that are interested in land from you anyway. I didn't say, I don't know what the cost is, but you'll talk to them about that. But I did tell them that I had somebody that I knew and I trusted that had land there, and they are so interested. So when I go back, we're going to talk more about them, and I may, kind of do, maybe get them online, and maybe we'll do a show about it. But they are so interested in also purchasing land from you because I know you. You know what I'm saying? And I
Right.
trust you. And
Right.
we want to talk more about that with you about them purchasing land also. So
Right.
that'll
No
be
problem.
3 spots right there, 4 spots, because I'm getting mine. They're gonna get theirs, but yeah, that'll be 4 spots right there, that they are interested in getting them a spot. So
Okay.
I'm
Well, I shared your video and thank you for having me. I'll talk
thank
to you
you.
later on.
Yes,
Just
sir.
hit me when you get back to the States so we can
Okay.
organize that because I'm going for sure because I got to get the security house built on the land.
You just let me know when you're going, and I'll try to. Hopefully, I'll be able to schedule. If you tell me in advance, I'll be able to schedule my schedule, and then I can go again. Because I already put it out there. In 6 months, I'll be ready to come back.
And
So
you already know. Hey, and you already know where to stay. You
that's right.
already know where. That's the
Yep.
beauty of it. When you know
Yep.
exactly where to stay, where you
Yes.
can do your work and stuff, and not
Yes.
have to worry about no
Yes.
problems. Then you
Right.
already know like where you going when you land on that plane. Like, okay, I'm
Right.
going straight to
Yeah.
South Beach to Astra. You know what I'm
Yep.
saying?
Yep. And you
Like,
already have people that's there that'll pick you up from the airport that will have your back. And I mean, it's safety. I mean,
hey,
safety is
hey,
everything. And I felt
we
safe.
thought we thought Ephasus was expensive till you went to Rwanda.
I ain't even got boy. Yeah. Rwanda, I was like, what the hell is going on around here? I mean, and literally, we talking around the corner, it was $35. I'm like, why am I
And
paying
I heard they
$20?
don't speak much English, like how in Kenya everybody speak English.
Yeah, they don't, because I was speaking to some people and they were looking at, and I don't know what they actually speak. I was speaking Swahili, my little, just the little language, the little Swahili I do know, but I think they talk something totally different.
They talk different. Yeah,
Yeah,
they
they
don't
talk
speak
something totally.
Swahili.
No, they don't. They
And,
didn't, and I didn't know that. So I was like speaking, and they wasn't saying nothing. I'm like, well, okay, but it was a different crowd. Not as friendly as Kenya, but every state, every continent, every country has their own little, um, I guess.
hey, I'm telling you, Kenya is the best place I
It is.
think for a first time trip to Africa.
Yes. Yes, it is. It is because it's more built up. It is more built up, and like if you need internet, if you need everything you need is here. And like you said, even the little cities that you want to go to is only like a plane trip, an hour, 40 minutes. I think Malindi is 40 minutes from Kenya.
And when you fly to Malindi, you get to fly
Uh-huh.
over Mount Kilimanjaro, so you get to see like the snow top. It's it's
Really?
yeah, it's dope. You can see it straight from your window. Man, I took some amazing pictures of Kilimanjaro from that plane ride. I love it.
Oh,
I always love taking that plane ride because I get to see Kilimanjaro. But look at this, Cassie. Let me know when you got time. I want to do a show. Why
okay.
Kenya is the best place.
Yeah.
Why Kenya is the best place for first time trips to Africa.
Yes. Oh my God. When you let me know when you're gonna do it. Just
We'll
let me
do
know.
like five reasons. And since that was your first time going to Kenya, was that your first time in Africa?
Yeah, my first time.
Oh,
Yep.
right.
Very
If
cool. Yep.
I could use you as the perfect person you know what I'm saying? That would be a perfect
Yeah.
little show for us.
Yes.
So
We
just
just
you
want
leave
people
on
to feel
Tuesday.
comfortable. Yeah, I'll be back on Tuesday. I'll be back on Wednesday evening about 5. So anytime after 5 on Wednesday, let me know. I'll be ready. Just let
You
me
gonna
know.
stop you gonna stop in Amsterdam to visit your daughter? Aren't you flying through Amsterdam?
I'm going to Paris. We're going to meet in Paris.
Ugh.
So I've never been. I just want to go. And
But
she's
are you
going to
gonna
be in
spend a
Paris.
little time in Paris?
It's going to be a day, and then I'll be coming home. So just one day. I'm not going to
But
spend, just one day.
but you're gonna leave the airport, right?
Yes, yes,
Yeah,
yes. Her
Paris
and
is
I have
nice for a
lunch.
day or two.
I've never been to Paris, so we're gonna meet up for lunch. We're gonna meet up for breakfast and lunch, and then I'll spend most of the day there, and then I'll go back to the airport to fly out
Your daughter is
Tuesday.
like, I'm gonna be in Europe, mom.
I'm my
That's
girl.
cool. Your daughter is
Look,
nice. I like her. She's very sweet.
you can have Europe. This is right here is what this is me.
Exactly.
Oh,
Listen, you go stay over there, and we'll be waiting on your ass when you come over here. We got
and
it.
she
We
gonna be all
building
that
over
dang
here.
on snow. I'm like, girl, you can have that snow, and I show her, the beauty of Africa. I'm still here.
Man, ain't
I'm
nobody
the
trying to go
beauty.
live up in no damn snow. We visit the snow and come back home.
Like, no.
Hey,
Heck
all right,
no.
Cassie. I'm gonna do that show. So when I do it, I'm gonna let you know. What time is it over there?
Right now it is
6 o'clock.
5:30. Well, in this area is 5:37 right now.
5:30. Okay, cool.
Yeah,
Okay,
5:30.
well, if I do that show later and you still up, I'm gonna hit you up because you will be up working.
I will be. Yes, I'll be working.
Okay,
What time
I'm gonna
you
hit
want,
you up.
you want to do it today? Let me
It's
know.
Sunday. It's Sunday here. It's
Okay.
Sunday
Well, yeah.
here.
Let me know. Let me know. And if you want to do it today, let me know. We
I'll
good.
let you know because it's Sunday here. So this is the perfect day to do so. 5 reasons why Kenya is the best place for a first time trip to Africa. That's
Text me
perfect.
when you're ready. I mean, I'll be watching out for it.
Okay.
I'll be watching out for it. Let me know
And
though.
you can promote your channel and promote Realm in the Bush in your Realm in
Realm
the
in the
Bush
Bush.
Cash App.
Yes, I'm doing a lot of stuff going on when I get back with Realm in the Bush. I have
Hey,
five
I'm
upcoming
getting sued by
positions.
Tariq Nasheed.
Huh?
I'm getting sued by Tariq Nasheed.
I heard about that. Did you have Michi had your name out there on her show, buddy?
Oh yeah, it's all good. I'm gonna
Yes,
win.
I said, look at Michi. She is,
He said
yeah, she's talking about you. How he
Brandon
was
didn't reach the big time. He getting sued by big people.
what the world you didn't did to Tariq? Oh
If
Lord,
I'm
it
getting,
was so
if
funny.
I'm getting, I must be doing something right if I'm getting
You ain't
sued.
lying. You ain't lying. I will go to court and tell it all. Go to court and tell it
Right,
all.
I'm gonna go, Your Honor.
He don't even know the doors be opening. I would tell everything.
You know, somebody get in court and start saying too much. That's gonna be me.
Oh my, they gonna be like, Brandon, they gonna have to shut you down. That's good.
Copy
But my
that.
thing is good. He needs to be exposed.
And
I
I
mean,
love Tariq and Honor, and I didn't even mind that he was scamming the people out of $2 million. He had an Indiegogo fund and all this
excuse
stuff.
me,
He gonna be
$2
like,
million
damn,
dollars? Did you say 2 million?
yeah, you got 2 million out of these idiots.
That's that's crazy.
2 million.
Wow. And they won't even
Man, I got
support
all
the
time.
community store.
Man, they need to get that 2 million to Realm in the Bush. You'll
You
retire
ain't
in Kenya
lying.
off of that.
Because we doing things. I'm just saying, we doing things. I have
Hey,
plumbing positions, paid plumbing positions, 5 of them in North Carolina for anybody that wants to learn how to
I'm
be a
about
plumber.
to move to I'm about to move to North Carolina.
Come on, I'm just saying, 5
I need
positions,
one of them plumbing. I need
paid,
one of them plumbing.
paid. Come on down. It's paid positions, and we're gonna talk on Thursday when I come back, and then we're partnering up with a guy that's he has like gang members, ex gang members that they need jobs and stuff. So we're gonna partner up with him, and we're gonna put them in some positions also that we have partnered up with. So
Hey,
it's getting we're growing, getting
Cassie, you need to get some online because I heard they have online staffing agencies where they staff for online jobs.
uh-huh.
You need to get on that so I could go and work on my computer while I'm living up in Africa doing the
I'm
damn
telling
thing.
you, you may as well. I mean, why not? You may as well.
That's the trick right there.
That's how you do it. Yeah, that's how you do it right there. You get on with one of those and you get to work from anywhere in the world. I'm
Right.
just saying. I'm just saying. But my attention right now is more ramming the bush because it's growing and we're getting people involved and we're finding jobs. And I want to get to the probation people because I have some other stuff coming up. And I'm like, give them to me for a year. Let me train them for a year and a half. And then I'll use them to train the other people that come in. But my thing is, our youngsters need something to do. They don't have anything to do, Brandon. Everything has been cut off from them. So what do you expect them to do? So the ones that have like the not the really serious crimes, like they breaking and entering, whatever, give them to me, probation them out to me for 2 years. Let me get them trained up and see what happens.
Hey,
That'll
all
be
right. Well, thank you so much. I
thank
appreciate you
you,
letting me
Brandon.
hop on, and I'm gonna let you know if I do that show later.
Okay, let me know. Thank you. We'll talk
Bye.
later. All right, bye. All right, you guys, that's my boy Brandon. I love him. He's just like a son to me. I'm serious, but I'm telling you, it was just amazing. His apartment, everything. He's amazing. He's a real person. He is the way he is on here. He's in person. He's amazing, amazing. I love you some Brandon. He's awesome, awesome. But I do appreciate you guys for tuning in. Thank you so much. I hope everybody, if you want to rewind, play, we did talk about, and I do believe, like I said, I do believe that Africa, Kenya, you have to understand that we can't do this tribalism. We can't separate ourselves, because what happens to Africa happens to us. What happens to Haiti happens to us. What happens to Caribbeans happens to us. We're all one. We have to stop getting to the place where we are separating ourselves. That's not helping. Yes, he is. Yes, he is. Country first, he is. Country first, he is amazing. Yes, yes. But I want you guys to tune in later to Brandon. Go over there to Pan Africanism Strikes Back, and go over there and subscribe, so you guys will know when we come on to do the show. We're going to come on a little later, maybe, to do the show about Kenya, which everybody needs to understand that Kenya is the now. I'm telling you, that is the most built up place. I had no internet problems. I had no, I didn't feel threatened. I didn't feel like, oh my God, I had to look over my shoulder. I didn't feel it's like it was a security issue. I didn't feel where it was, I didn't feel danger. I'm telling you, and people were saying, oh, be careful with me, be careful. I'm like, what are you talking about? You be careful. I'm good. Because I've not felt, I've had peace, sleeping wise, peace, everything. I'm just saying. If you guys, Kenya needs to be your first place that you go to. It's the most built up. I went to Tanzania, went to Zanzibar, went to Dar es Salaam. Now Dar es Salaam is amazing too. Zanzibar for me, Cape Town or Stone Town, for me it was too little of a spot for me. But if you're a Muslim and you like that little area, it's a little island. If that's you, hey, get busy and go for it. But for me, I just didn't like Zanzibar for me. But I'm not saying it won't work for you. Dar es Salaam for me was better. Um, and we went on the boating trips. It was just amazing. We swam with the dolphins. I should say everybody else swam with the dolphins. I watched them swim with the dolphin in an ocean with no life vest on. I wasn't about to get in that water. I'm just saying. So yes, it was fun, and it's just been amazing. But thank you, you guys, for tuning in. I'm not going to hold you guys. I don't like to do long lives at all. But thank you. Have a great day, and we'll see you next time. Peace, family.